In 1939, uh, the Bonneville Dam was activated, and it had been built with taxpayer money. The Great Depression, was so severe that over 1 out of 4 people who ordinarily had jobs were out of work. And Henry Ford, among others, finally acknowledged that if they didn't pay some taxes, they wouldn't be able to get the economy going again. So they yielded to socialistic uh, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he got the money to do things like build the Bonneville Dam. And when it opened, there was a huge scramble on how the electricity was going to be distributed. Who was going to pay for the lines and uh, uh, I'm going to block on the word for the transformers, and to get the power to the house and to the small businesses. And there were two approaches. You could either have it through what they called PUDs, public utility districts, or you could have it through private corporations. And there was a huge struggle and division of people. Washington ended up with PUDs primarily, and Oregon almost exclusively ended up with private utilities, Pacific Power and Light and Portland General Electric. Well, Dad came down on the side of public, even though in those days the liberal Republicans were in favor of public power, uh, and but the people in town who had small businesses and orchards and so forth, who had a little money to save and to help them with their security as they got old, wanted to have the ability to buy electric bonds, which paid a high rate of interest and were totally guaranteed on their return. And so they really didn't like people like my dad who was trying to get in the way of that. So he primarily had working people for clients, couldn't get the people with a little money to hire him. And when I got admitted to Dartmouth College, a woman who was there in town, a widow, who had a fancy house with columns in front of it, told me at a dinner party she invited me to with her nephew, who was also going to Dartmouth. She said, "Well, your father killed my husband." Well, her husband had been the head of PP&L for Hood River, and in the pitched battle, he ended up with a heart attack and died. She seemed okay with me, even though she announced what I just said, but it was a mean struggle. And that then related to my dad and mom having a large vegetable garden, also a cow, which our grandfather, who'd been hungry as a child, helped them get a used barn and used steel pipe to get water out of the creek to irrigate the garden. And we had a big vegetable garden, quarter of an acre, I don't know. And never any discussion around the dinner table about the politics of our raising our own food, but there it was. Politics caused me to be very involved in raising our own food in my childhood.